Morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Andy Serling, joined by my good friend Anthony Stabile. How are you today?
Good. How are you? I like the new intro music to Talking Horses.
I could hear it today. It was really exciting.
Last week, you had said something on Twitter about after the celebrity boxing on Saturday. I offered to be your tag team partner in wrestling. That could be our intro music.
I'm just happy to hear that Nate Robinson got clocked.
Maggie could be our
my
manager.
least favorite Nick ever, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, the memes have been absolutely tremendous. I mean, he is out cold.
There's something wrong with me hating one of the shortest guys who never played the NBA, though.
Right.
Maybe it's sort of an odd thing. It wasn't the size.
Envy? Jealous that you were on an NBA
No, I
superstar?
love Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy was great.
Muggsy was awesome. He was the
Muggsy
real deal.
win the dunk contest?
He did.
He did.
Is he 5'2"?
I want to go 5'4".
Shorter than me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He was a slightly better basketball player.
A little bit.
You need to head to Naira Bets for all this fun. Support Naira Bets. Support all this fun. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. NairaBets.com. We will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code MATCH200. Support racing in New York. Keep the money in the game where it belongs, where it needs to be. What else do we have? We have the Saturday contest. No, Francisco. Francisco, come on, get that off. This is not the contest.
Maybe if he didn't concentrate on not liking
Please get
me
the
that
slate
much.
off. Thank you.
Maybe if you concentrated on...
Do we have a promo? We have a $500 cigar.
We had it yesterday.
I know. I just assumed that he would have it right today.
2 NHC seats. Contest
$500
closes tonight at 5 p.m.
o'clock.
So you got about 6 hours, a little less than 6 hours to sign up over at Naira.com. The 2 NHC seats. And we did confirm August 27th to August 29th. So, Travers, you'll have some great racing to play on if you're able to qualify for that NHC in Vegas.
Okay. Anyway, did we have a promo for Naira Bets? Did we ever figure that out?
It's Aqueduct and Tampa 50-50 on the app today. I believe you get $10 back.
We don't have a slate for that? What's going on around here?
I don't know.
There's only so much we can blame on Francisco.
Yeah, I think he's off the...
He's having a rough day today. He's really not on top of his game. He was so sharp yesterday. I don't know what happened.
Bounce.
So race number one.
I know you don't believe in the bounce, but I think Francisco bounced
Race
today.
number one. I was surprised to see, I think this horse is the morning line favorite. Let's take a look at Mia Be a Star.
The slight morning line favorite, yes. You are correct, though.
Yeah. Really?
Look at the morning line. It's 3-1 to 5-1. There's 7 of them.
She did beat a horse that came back to win. Yesterday was an incredible day. It was an amazing day.
That was unbelievable.
Love Me Tomorrow. Stalked, pounced, and won for fun.
Bobby Newman on HRN said to me, if I would have told you that she was going to rate and win by 3.5 lengths today, would you have committed me before?
Well, but personally, if you told me she was going to win by 3.5 lengths, I would have had an issue with that. But she did, and Mia Be a Star beat her quite easily, and maybe she's turned around. I don't know. I thought like you, and I think we had the same thought. I just thought Charlotte Webley's supposed to wire the field here.
That's the first thought.
For a trainer who's winning every race, every horse he enters.
And there is the second thought. Yes, Michael Simmons. Everything seems to be firing on all cylinders, and this filly has speed.
Is there a graphic issue, so we need to verbalize our picks, Francisco?
No, they were up.
Happy to do it.
They were up before the replay.
3-5-1-8 for me.
3-8-5-1 for me.
Yeah, wasn't really thrilled with Mia Be a Star. I thought Charlotte Webley would wire the field here. You know, I kind of got lucky with Homedale Park. I needed her for second last time. She just sort of picked up the pieces. But, geez, I thought on paper Charlotte Webley's supposed to be in front here. I mean, she's faster than these, unless Donk wants to use left-leaning Lucy in somewhat of a rabbit position. But why would they do that? I mean, she can win in her own right, frankly.
I mean, Andy,
why would you sacrifice her? I'm not sure she's less likely to win.
And, you know, you say this to me. I mean, you want to talk about a horse that would have to be... Charlotte Webley's pretty fast. I mean, she'd have to be in an all-out drive.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, she'd have to be in an all-out drive.
I agree. I thought Charlotte...
It is Manny, and it is the rail. We've seen Manny gun plenty of horse from the rail,
Charlotte
but she
Webley's
really
is
have
faster.
to... Yeah?
This rider needs to... This guy rider's going to have success here this winter. He's got to be in front with a horse like Charlotte Webley. Now, she is a horse that drifts quite a bit, but I agreed with you. I thought she was the horse to beat. Race number 2. Race number 2, you've got a couple of horses that have run reasonably well on the turf, and we'll start with Ogotten Girl for trainer Todd Pletcher, who finished second at Baystorm last time, and take a look at that race. Thought she ran fine. I thought she was the horse to beat here. Opinion.
Thought she was the horse to beat. I wasn't. I mean, third draft did not. I know she stretched out. She didn't run that well. over the weekend.
But that was a tough route.
It was.
Well, she didn't run that badly. I mean, the race went fast. The race was the second fastest in the stake. Technical analysis might be one of the better 2-year-old fillies we've seen in the turf this year. I wouldn't say that was a knock on this race at all.
This filly stayed on a little bit. Held second over third draft. Yeah, I mean, no huge knocks. I just wanted to take...
It's logical. I mean, the other one that ran is Palace Gossip, and we'll take a look at her for Tony Dutrow. The reason I don't like Palace Gossip, and she ran fine, she rode the gold rail. And I think, that's going to come up on a couple of occasions during today's card. She ran well, but, I think it's fair to suggest these performances are dressed up. Now, Cocapelli, who did rally outside a beater, was a heavily bet firster for Christophe Clement, who didn't lose with a single firster for about 5 months. That horse did ride the rail for most of the way before angling out into the stretch. But still, I thought she was dressed up by the rail, and those were New York breds, but you can't say she has no chance here.
No, I don't prefer her partially for those reasons, but when you see results like that, and we talked about this last week as well, when these horses beat fields in the turf sprints by a half a dozen lengths like they did, they were well ahead of the third horse.
What do you like about the 10 Stuck on Kitten?
I just want to, I didn't love anything we've seen so far from the runners in here. And Wesley Ward shipping this horse up here very late in the season. This horse was stabled down at Keeneland with Wesley with the first string. Ships up here, gets one breeze in the mud over at Belmont Park. Daughter of Kitten's Joy out of a Manjou mare.
Yeah, but that doesn't exactly stream 6 furlongs.
6 furlongs, right. Well, you know what, though? Truth be told, Wesley knows that as well. Okay. And she has a nice enough work tab sprinting that I don't know if it's going to be an issue. She gets Rosario. I landed here.
Okay. Well, she's obviously going to take money. I've got her in the mix as well. She does have some pedigree, and I respect Wesley as well. What do you like about Lily Simone? Haven't we tried her, and she just stinks?
We have. Dave Donk, her trainer, said she was one of the better 2-year-olds he had in the barn.
He was wrong. I think he can admit that at this point.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes she gets to mature a little bit now.
She's
a couple
been
of races.
One or two starts.
I know, but they were number one. He tried to go on a mile first time. He brought her back 13 days later in the sprint. Okay. Now he gives her 2 months. She's going to be a big price.
She's been terrible, though.
She hasn't been good.
And she's been awful.
She has not been good.
I didn't see anything to recommend about her. So unless she had an issue in those races, I didn't see it. I'm very surprised you've left out your man Bill Mott. Why she do that? This horse that Bill Mott's been trying to get on the turf for the first time is a foal to a couple of very nice runners we've seen around here for trainer Bill Mott. The Honey, what are they?
Honey Won't.
Right, those horses, and Kieran Trade the Dam. It's all turf. There's plenty of turf there, and I thought this was a very, very interesting horse in here. I'm going to bet Why She Do That. We'll see what happens in race number 2.
I think you just wanted to say the name.
Well, we've got Miss Dracarys going out for...
Dracarys.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we need to know who's training these horses.
I said this yesterday. There was a horse at Fairgrounds yesterday, too.
Neil Drysdale's not here. He's got a few horses here. We're happy they're here. But he's not here. We need to know whose barn are they in.
And
it's like the
old big program that we're not printing now because we don't have fans here would have the assistant listed.
Is it an assistant or is there in somebody else's barn?
Well,
we need to know. It's not... Yeah. Once again, it's a game of information, and partial information is not helpful to the bettors, and the bettors are the ones keeping the game going, along with the owners, Graham Motion, with I'm a Hugger as well. I think you have to consider all of those horses dangerous. I mean, this race, frankly, which may be one of the last turf races we run in New York this year, could have been run at Saratoga. And there's all the right names in here and a lot of good stuff going on. Race number 3, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got Scano and Bray. I just thought we'll take a look at Scano running second to grade in a curve. On paper, he looks 3 to 5 in here.
Yeah, that was kind of
better than these horses. He's not compromised by pace. He can sit close behind winner's back, who we'll get to in a moment. I just thought he's better than these horses. He's been in great form for Tommy.
That last line too on his PPs is a little exaggerated. The horse ran off early, 22-1. He's never that far from the pace, and you're not going to have that in here, I would imagine. So, yeah, he ran well. He kind of made the first run on that collapse last time, and got beat by a horse that. There may be bigger and better things ahead for graded on a curve. I mean, they've been waiting for him to come along as well, and he's had a nice 2020.
What are you thinking? He's maybe an Oscar, maybe a movie role?
The New York Bridge Stakes races. I'm sure that's the next logical step. He's got to get a little better, but I mean, as he gets older, I'm sure he will. And I just think Scano made a lot of sense.
Right now, was the 2 races in the turf. Yeah. No, Scano's very logical. As far as Winter's back. I guess in a 5-horse field as a controlling speed, some will be fooled into thinking he's the horse to beat. He's not. and he's really supposed to be a much bigger price than Scano, and I'm not sure he's going to be. We'll take a look at his last race. He's completely dressed up by circumstance in here. This was Gold Rail Day, and he rode the Gold Rail to victory. The horse who was second, Base 3 Money, came back and ran very well. I thought Dylan left a little too much to do yesterday, not saying he necessarily would have beaten the winner, but I think it could have been very, very close. I don't know. We'll see. I think this is a horse that rode the bias, set a very moderate pace with a bias, and it dressed up his performance. He would have to really improve to beat a horse like Scano and hope that Scano doesn't run.
Well, the odd thing is here, the only horse that really could give him any, I mean, he's faster than them, but microsecond, I guess, could be the other one to be closest to him, and they're both Todd. So...
Well, Scano's every bit as fast as Winner's Back. I don't see why Jose Ortiz shouldn't be aggressive enough to make sure that Winner's Back wants to get the lead. He's got to run a little bit to get it and get right behind him. He's not. I don't think that. You think microsecond's fast?
I think if he was trained by someone else, he'd be the one that would keep Winter's Back company. I think Scano's best races have come when he's been in mid-pack.
If you're Mike Rapoli, you're supposed to tell Todd Pletcher, I don't really care what other horse you have in the race. I've got a horse, Bray, who's a deep closer, and he's going to be helped by pace, so you're not supposed to, not be riding. And maybe microsecond is almost a rally. I know that it's different owners, but that's the way it goes. And if I'm Mike Rapoli, maybe I'm telling him, hey, Johnny, I need you to be aggressive in here because you got to help Bray.
Yeah.
Because microsecond isn't good enough to beat these horses, but Bray is. And so
with a little help on the lead, Bray's dangerous.
I mean, you're right. It's a strange situation.
It's a weird situation.
But Scano was supposed to get it done. But I agree. Bray's a little bit interesting. He's run okay in his races. And he gets Joel Rosario back, who rode him to begin his career. By the way, we will break after 5. I didn't discuss that with Francisco. And he's having a bumpy morning. So, I want to make sure.
Tough trip.
I'm not sure what happened. So race number 4, a big player got scratched when Hirsch came out of this race. I feel like you liked Hirsch.
I did. A couple of interesting scratches from the barn today, too. Vineyard Sound out later.
Okay. Were there narcotics involved in your selections in this race?
I knew this was coming.
Okay. Why do you like his CASSE now?
Wanted to use this horse originally as a little bit of a price alternative to a horse that I thought was going to be really tough today, and I scratch into him now.
Because why?
Well, I thought his race, first time out, he runs into the Convict More Grateful race, which at the time we thought was going to be okay. Now, I don't even remember if we've seen Convict. And More Grateful's turned out
okay. He lost by 20 lengths. Okay, so.
And then he came back and he ran him for the tag and he galloped. And he ran a much better speed figure. He's been gone a long time now, but he's working bullets over a pen. I know he's got to deal with ink spots early, but I don't know.
There's an interesting. Okay, thank you. Anthony likes the 8. TOSCANO. Now, what I actually like, there's a page on our website for every racetrack called Track Trends. It's a little near and dear to my heart because I'm the one who does the track trends. It's not a huge job. It takes me maybe 5 minutes a day. If you go to the track trends, you can find out if there were any biases on given days. And most of the time, I actually feel like the tracks are fair. A day I didn't think the track was fair was January 30th of this year, when I thought it was a gigantic inside speed bias when TOSCANO ran. So his performance, which isn't even good enough to be competitive in this field, is completely, in my opinion, obviously you and I disagree, is completely dressed up by a gold rail. Track, you want me to show you that page on my phone? No, I'm not sure you do, because I can show it to you.
I see it.
I can show it to you.
I see it.
It's a Track Trends. It's under racing.
I see
you
it.
look it up. You open it up on your computer.
It's right next to the pace projections.
I don't know. Well, the pace projections in Time From US, I can also show you how to log into that.
I'm good.
If you want. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're good because you picked TOSCANO in here. You're good because you don't look at Track Trends. Anyhow, I think that's an insane pick, but what do I know? I picked a favorite in sneakiness. We'll take a look at sneakiness. We got to go back to Aqueduct on January 25th, a third-place finish behind an unlikely Mad Money's in Stage Left, a race that would win this race. And I think if you look at it logically, since coming back, I'm not sure what Linda was doing with this horse. I mean, she ran October 4th at a mile and got involved in the quick pace in a tough field. He's not a miler, and that was a tough spot. And then she ran the horse in the turf. Now, maybe she's just showing no confidence in this horse, but she's not dropping the horse down substantially. He's still in for 40,000. The horse that was claimed for 50. So I just got to think he's finally in the right spot. I mean, isn't he just logical in here?
Two schools of thought here.
You got him nowhere?
I don't like this horse at all today. I think the last 2 efforts reek of desperation. Now, you're right. She does not drop her drop him below the claim level. That's the only, I think.
Well, that may be the only thing that matters. It's obviously not desperation when she's dropping in for 40.
It might be, but.
You don't have this horse 1, 2, 3, 4, and you've got a horse that has like no chance to win on top. I mean, you want to go with Mr. Phil, at least you can say, listen, I have a really good friend named Phil. How can you have your friend Phil fourth in here? You couldn't move Phil up one spot?
You know, Mr. Phil
is not impossible.
Is an interesting horse. If you throw the 2 Parks races out, and maybe he just didn't like it down there.
That's a stretch.
Why is it a stretch?
Because that's just dopiness. He didn't like it. That's
Why
not,
is it?
That's not handicapping. It's not handicapping.
A horse.
It's not. It's voodoo.
A horse doesn't like a racetrack.
It's voodoo. It's voodoo.
So hold on a second.
It's voodoo.
This horse is running against Dark Money and Morning Breeze, who, relatively speaking, would be barred from wagering in here. Okay? He's running mid-70s.
Morning Breeze would be barred from wagering?
He's mid.
He might lose to you and I in a horse.
He's mid-70s.
No, I don't. I'm not. You know what? I could easily have had Mr. Phil in my top 4. I do not disagree with you. He has a chance. TOSCANO now is none on paper, unless he's just. There's no tip on TOSCANO now. I just want to make sure. There's no big story circulating around. No. He's not going to open it like 3-2 or something, and all the wise guys will be in.
But I don't have a tip on it.
You're sure of that?
Positive.
Okay, I'm just checking. We can't get your lie detector because you said you know how to beat the lie detector test.
Yeah, of course. There's a million ways to beat a lie detector test.
You know, Stanhope. Stanhope did lose to a reasonable horse in his one dirt race. Cleon Jones, he finally gets back to dirt. Doesn't just feel like he's just, can he run anymore?
But everybody who's had him has scratched him in a bunch of off-the-turf races. I picked him like 3 times, I know.
Great point.
It's really ridiculous. I put him 3rd today. I kind of gave up because they must know something because they just kept scratching him.
What about There Is a Storm Brewing? I didn't think that horse was impossible for Charlie.
No.
He's got some decent figs, cuts back in distance. I thought There Is a Storm Brewing was dangerous for Charlie. Won a race yesterday. Jake Rocks has a chance in here. I don't agree with David. I can't believe Jake Rocks will be favored over sneakiness. But maybe you're right. Maybe he's saying the same thing you are. The last 2 races are bad. I don't think they're that bad. See, I think the race against Kumar makes him tough in this field, actually. And last time he's just not a turf horse, and he's not a miler either. And I think he cuts back in distance. I think he's fine in here. We'll see. I mean, obviously there are question marks with him. Drug Away. Have they been winning as much? And they were like.
She got home yesterday in the last. For a stable that went a little cold, the impossible horse of impossible horses was the one that gets the money.
But they were hot as a pistol, and it just feels like they're kind of.
It's quieted down considerably since the we
pandemic.
returned.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Anyhow, we'll see what happens.
The other thing with sneakiness for me was the fact that best races are when he's forward, and he's probably not fast enough, faster than Inksplots or TOSCANO now.
Well, no, he's not. So it's a 3rd.
So, okay.
Race number 5. I guess in race number 5, we'll take a look at it. Bustin' My Groove for Danny Gargan, finishing 3rd, first time out. I scratched into him. I'd originally picked the 2 Diamond in the Sun on top. I don't have a lot to say about a horse I scratched into that's going to be favored. I don't know if any of these horses can run. He's the horse to beat, and it does seem like the Gargan Express has gotten back on track.
Big reason I put this horse on top. This was one of the restricted races, so now this horse goes from the restricted under 45,000 RNA or auction to New York Breds. Probably a lateral move, maybe a little bit of a drop in class, I would say. Maybe.
Well, you don't know because it's all these first-time starters. Who knows what they're going to be in here?
Yeah. Didn't get any real information in here. I heard Bruce Brown, the number 3, could run a little bit, so I put the horse 3rd, but didn't really get anything.
Was he hip number 1?
Hip number?
Was he hip number 1? You've got the Rapoli homebred first-time starter. More turf, isn't it?
Yeah, more turf, but they are running this horse on dirt first time out. I know she's a New York bred, and
number 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the interesting first-time starters is probably the 8 Gracefully Wild for Eddie Barker. And this horse worked 10 flat at the sale. It was a half to Gandy Dancing. Duder as well. It was a turf horse, but Gandy Dancing, obviously a good horse. And, it's a Shackelford. Maybe that sort of kept some people away from this horse. But this was a very, very nice workout. This horse's 10 flat work. It was very dangerous for Eddie. And Eddie had that winner the other day here that ran well, took some money in that race. Thought that horse was dangerous. What about the 9 in here? Cosmic Kitten, complete change, a horse that's going from a turf route to a dirt sprint, second time out for Dave Donk.
Took some money too.
First time out, yeah.
I noticed that. Normally with Dave, it works the other way around, right? But Normally with Dave, if they come off the turf to the dirt, they drop. This one's in the special weight, but I guess she's not impossible.
Well, I don't think anybody's impossible in here. I mean, a life that's good is going to take money. This is not the kind of horse I want. Though it is kind of more of a dirt dam, at least, for Jeremiah Englehart. Did show speed first time out.
Took no money, though, 23-1, didn't take a dime. Yeah, showed some speed on the turf, but I would have to imagine that at least one of these firsts is a little faster early on.
See how it plays out. Race number 5 closes out the early pick 5, starts out the late pick 5. We will be back with the late pick 4 after a quick break.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at the Big A. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6.
For details on the Empire 6 and mandatory payout dates, visit nyra.com/Empire6 today.
Need help in finalizing your picks for the next race? Check out the Track Master selections provided by Equibase on every U.S. thoroughbred and harness track on NYRA Bets. Use these selections to get quick expert advice from professionals in the business. Check out the thumbs up graphic next to the pick and a wager pad and scroll down for more details on the horse. Track Master selections available on NYRA Bets and the NYRA Bets app.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. He's Anthony Stabile. I'm not. What's going on? You ready for the big day tomorrow?
Of course. One of my favorite races of the year. Love the cigar.
It's not to love.
No.
I've been here for most NYRA miles, cigar miles. I was not here 49er. Am I wrong that 49er cigar mile was run during the week, NYRA mile was run during the week?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't remember. It was 88. I was 11 years old. Billy Fox Jr. I remember all that.
I don't know why I wouldn't have been here. I mean, it was the Breeders' Cup in the next week. It was just over, maybe it was a week before. It's hard to believe it would have been run on a weekday, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
We'll look it up.
Well, you might be right. Maybe a Friday?
I don't know. It's inaugural running. I had a $500,000 purse to start. It's a great idea. Jerry McEwen, I think, right? Came up with that idea. Do you remember when his son worked at the TV truck? Mike?
I don't know.
Oh, Mike's a good guy. He's still working in racing. Yeah, I'm not racing. He's working in TV. One of the networks, I think.
You got a favorite cigar?
I made a big bet on cigar when he won the cigar on the NYRA Mile.
I remember asking the chief who was going to ride Devil Is Due, because I knew that Mike had Mike Smith had ridden cigar in his previous study. He goes, he's riding us. I was like, oh, really? Okay.
I wish that was Blue second. I did Punchline. It was like 75-1. Was third. Andrea Seefeld. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
huge price.
Still bothered. It was like 70. The horse was like 70. I don't know why. Was it gray? Gray.
We have a mutual friend that had $16 left and wanted to try to get Devil Is Due out of the try, and made $1 try. Instead of asking somebody for the $4, he keyed 1. He went 1 with 4 with 5, and decided that he was going to try and make a score, and left Devil Is Due out for second and used Punchline. So if
I never warmed up to Devil Is Due. It's funny. He was a very good horse. And it's odd because I loved all the Chief's horses. He was like
spent
an
a lot
odd
of time
horse
with the Devil
for the
with
Chief
Alan,
that
so.
I don't know what it was about him. I never warmed up to him. Yeah, there's some horses. He was a tremendous racehorse and a great career.
He was a war horse.
I don't know why. I just something about him. I don't know what it was.
Alan refused to run him. He had a little turf pedigree. Alan refused to run him on the turf.
No, he didn't want to devalue him because he had a great career as a stallion. Did he stand anywhere?
Well, there was a whole big mess. The IRS wound up taking him over, remember? And they stood him.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
How do you think it went?
Yeah, probably not well. Race number 6, you got a couple of Christophe Clement horses in race number 6. Why don't we start with one of them, Phantom Smoke, down the rail. I think David has as the favorite. I got to tell you, I don't like this horse. This horse got an absolutely perfect trip. Now, maybe you'll get another one today, but talk about a perfect trip against a somewhat dubious field.
You admonish me for doing this. Horses that get perfect trips and come back, because you shouldn't really handicap thinking a horse is going to get a perfect trip, but this horse is drawn inside, and he's kind of destined for the same kind of trip, isn't he?
I don't know. Maybe there isn't as much pace in today's race. maybe he's not going to get it go as well. He
Well,
can
we're
win.
looking for trouble in there. There's always some. I mean, that was fast early, and you got looking for trouble.
No,
Kid
he's fast,
Cash.
he's fast he's got some speed in the dirt. I don't know if he's got turf
Yeah.
speed. We'll see.
That's true. Kid Cash puts the blinkers on.
He can win. I'm just not a big fan of his. I mean, you didn't pick him on top either. The other one, Swashbuckle, cutting back. I usually prefer the turnbacks. This is an odd one. Christophe turning this horse back, right? He does well with the cutbacks, but I don't know. It seems kind of an odd spot, right? He's almost just taking a shot, I guess. No race came up for him.
I don't know if it's taking a spot. This horse.
Of course it is. There's no New York Bred race. He's a turf horse. Where's he going to run him? He may not want to bring him to Florida for the winter, and this race came up, and he figured, oh, what the heck? I'll try him. What's the worst thing that happen? What does he run third? He gets $8,000. So I think he's taking a shot. I don't think this has a negative, but I don't think Christophe said after he broke his maiden in this race, I'm looking for a 6-furlong race for him.
No.
I mean, that's all I'm saying. I'm not
I'm curious as to whether it was the state break condition that let him run him long first time. I don't know if he needs to run long, but if he needs to run long, and I think you and I are both maybe leaning that way.
We have a stat, by the way. Did we put that up?
We did not.
We have a stat for Swashbuckle. Off a win going route to sprint in the turf. I hate to interrupt Francisco. Do you think he's like on the phone with somebody or something going on today? It's not. He was so sharp yesterday. I think we were too nice to him. We could fix that. Well, anyway,
sure can.
He's doing a great job.
Not a great cutback number. No.
No, off a win. It just once again, I don't think either one of us loves him. I'm not going to be shocked if he runs well in here. Probably get a good ride. He's got Joel Rosario. I just wasn't thrilled with the Christophs in here. And I think your horse is a little interesting. Talk about your horse before we show a few more replays, because we got nothing but replays here.
He ran on dirt a couple of times. He was a little bit of a push first time out, and he ran well. He ran much better than his 20-1.
He was 20-1. Everyone had a tip on him.
So it was the wildest thing,
you
right?
just said in the show you had a tip on him. I was watching the race with Chad Brown and said to me, I hear Rudy really likes his horse in here. He ran great. He's got pedigree. He's after 3 turf winners. 2 of them were good. I don't disagree. This horse is dangerous. I don't want to leave this horse out.
Puts the blinkers on.
Talent, this horse.
Puts the blinkers on. He's got the outside draw. We'll see, like you said, if looking for trouble brings his speed from the dirt to the turf. I'll tell you what, if he doesn't, this horse could find himself on a loose lead here today. Maybe the 6 Town of Gold.
We'll get to him in a minute. Just relax on him for a second. Rudy's, and also this is not, for people that are wondering, why is Rudy running a maiden here? It's the end of the turf season. He's got turf pedigree, and Rudy knows it. He's taking a shot, see what he's got. Can leave him here all winter and run him in the dirt all winter. So
all winter
I think
long.
It's just a question of trying the turf option. As far as Town of Gold, you mentioned, I don't think he's that fast, and we'll show his last race. There were some funny rides in this race of people not sending speed horses and things going on. And once again, for people that are confused about the race we're showing, and you really got to know this, 11-6 and 11-7, and to a lesser extent, 11-8, but very much, though, first 2 days and probably the third day, horses were incredibly, incredibly enhanced by being inside, and vice versa. Like so many in this race that chased out in the middle of the track, they were badly, badly hurt by chasing outside. So in my opinion, when you look at him, you say, where the heck did that race come from at almost 60-1? It was because of the bias.
Yeah.
And I don't like him at all today.
I don't disagree with that. I do think, though, he could be a pace factor.
He could be.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's that quick. I thought there was a lot of silly riding in there. I like that it's a gamble in here. We'll take a look at his first start. We'll show you the break. By the way, you want to see a ride? If they were going to use rides, forgetting about stake. John Velasquez gave On the Couch an unbelievably great ride yesterday. Absolutely agree with you. But this ride by Joel Rosario on It's a Gamble, might have been the best ride. This just got completely left in here. But the amazing thing that Joel did, really, they should make the Eclipse voters have to watch, because they shouldn't have all the people voting for jockeys. They should have a panel of 15 people who really follow racing, because it's not just about purse money. It shouldn't just be about purse money. It's a big factor. I'm not knocking it. But this horse, see how far back this horse is? Are we going to show the whole race? Which is fine. You can leave the whole race run if you want, Francisco. I'm good with that, actually.
Yeah, we got time. He's 10 lengths behind here.
The move that he makes, though, there he is, okay? Watch him. He goes from being like 6 lengths behind to being bang right there and doing it, hugging the hedge on the turn. And it's funny, this is, he's being the future stake winner in here, Tin White Duke, for my friend Steve Chris. I watched this race with Steve and Ken Durrett, the 2 who own the horse, with Phil Gleaves, and it was a brutal beat. And, it's funny, I talked to Joel after the race, and see how much gap they put on the other horses. And even he said, I made the run at the horse but I never thought I was going to get him because he
Right.
kind of spurred away and this horse kept running. But the movie made the turn. I mean, unbelievable. Now, you could argue he had a very good trip after getting left, but they tried him long. I think he's a turf sprinter. It's a good race, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
December 4th,
Really is.
turf race.
Really is.
It's a really good race. I mean, this race, I'll put it this way. I'm going to tell you this is a better race. This is a better field potentially than the stake race we ran here the first weekend of the meet.
The race where we showed the rest of
Potentially,
the red. I don't disagree
this
with
is,
that.
there's a lot of horses near. I'll put it this way. Good horses are going to lose this race. Fun race. Yeah, this is
And you know
nice.
what's fun about this race? It's on a little bit more of an even course now as well.
That's correct. I do not like those. A race that could be the last turf race of 2020, and I don't know, maybe they're planning on running some next week. I have no idea. We have one scheduled
I
tomorrow.
don't think there was anything
There's
in the
nothing
book.
in the book. That doesn't mean they can't have extras if they
Right.
feel. I guess it's up to Glenn and Martin to talk about. But we will take a look. I'm curious. We're moving to race number 7, Francisco. If you get off the phone, we've moved ahead to race number 7. There we go.
What is he doing today?
I don't know. There's something going on. We got to get to it.
Never know what he's doing down there.
We'll take a look at Chocolate Bar and More Like It. I actually like More Like It more than Chocolate Bar in here. I'm going to tell you something. I know that there was some unhappiness that Jose Ortiz wasn't more aggressive with him. I'm sorry. He was awful. He stalked the slow pace set by LAYOFF Johnny. He couldn't put that one away. He got beaten from behind. I did not like this effort at all. And I know More Like It had a good trip behind him, but this was a tepid pace. And I mean, he might win this race. The other problem with him is, Anthony, more trouble's going to get bet. And I'm going to show you a stat for much trouble, for much trouble, how bad the stats are for Maker.
I wanted
off
to
the
call him
long
more
layoff.
trouble too, by the way.
Yeah, there's a horse. Is there a horse more trouble?
I thought he was on the Triple Crown Trail for
I
Tony
just think
Duxbury.
this entry's a terrible bet at a short price.
Okay.
I'm not saying
You
they
might not
can't
be
win.
wrong.
I think they're a terrible gamble in here. I didn't like the one. What, you liked the 1-8's last race? I thought it was bad.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's a little more aggressive today. But you know what? He should get a better pace in here. With Big Wonder in here, he should get a faster
But he's
pace.
not going to be in front. But you're telling me he's going to get a better pace. He's not. He's going to get a faster pace. So that's better for him, the faster pace. Maybe. I don't know. I don't like his last race, and they're going to be a super short price in here.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it rains a lot and the race comes off the turf, the one that's likely to win is the 1X rejected again. I think he's the one, though.
They took him out. I have rejected again as scratch.
He's not scratched. Okay, you're wrong. You see, no scratches up there. There were no scratches in this race.
Oh, okay.
I thought there was one other horse in the dirt that was a little interesting in this race. Or am I?
But wouldn't Bad Guy be a little
Bad
interesting?
Guy is very interesting in this race.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Bad Guy. I think Bad Guy's interesting on either surface today.
Speaking of Bad Guy, Anthony and I both picked Bad Guy third. I thought, boy, with Joel Rosario riding him today.
I didn't want to hear you.
I thought he'd be like a candy
just didn't
eclair
wanna hear
sitting on
you.
your desk with nobody around and you could just devour.
Good old Bad
He
Guy.
is a better one-turn type horse. This horse is better raced with short one-turn, but this is only a mile. So with Joel, I don't think Bad Guy's impossible to get a piece because I think this entry is very dubious here.
Yeah.
They might win, but I think they're very dubious.
And you know, from the 2-hole, he's going to save ground the whole way. It'll be taking the short way around there for sure. The two-turn, one-turn, two-turn bother me. He needs to get his caboose in gear. And
I'm looking at this race and I'm going through it. I'm like, Hurricane Hill, he was atrocious last time. Who says he wants a mile? That guy can win. Big Wonder, he's going to get a mile. He gets a mile without me. I don't like the two outside of him. Restless Spirit obviously can win this race, but he got the
you don't
money
like
last
Hurricane
time.
Hill at all? You don't think he's a little interesting? See, I thought he was a little interesting, especially if you're going to get a price on him. He's drawn inside. I know that Big Wonder's faster, but he's coming out of the sprint races, so you got to think Lozano's going to be a little aggressive, and maybe he's the one that gets the right trip.
What about his last race?
Yeah,
I think
but
that-
then he goes to the bench. He gets 2 months. He came back and he ran okay
I think
off the January layoff.
I think the term pitiful for his last performance would be unfair
I don't
to
disagree
those
with
that are
that.
pitiful.
But look what happened. The last time that happened, he went to the bench and he came back and he ran okay. And then he improved big time
Didn't
too
even
off.
run that well 3 back because he rode a gold rail that day against a bad field. I'm starting to feel like his race 2 back is the aberration, to be honest with you. And I don't like sprinters stretching out. Am I going to fall out of my chair if he runs? Well, of course not, but I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
Reckless Spirit, to me, got everything his own way last time out. That race just dropped in his lap. He could win back. I won't be shocked. But I'm looking through. I want the entry. I think Life on Top. Why might have bet him off his last race? Speaking of pitiful, he didn't lift a hoof
That was awful.
day. I mean, he didn't lift a hoof. I think More Like It can win this race. But I'm looking through. what is so bad about Add a Kid? And I'll tell you something with Out of Town Form. Add a Kid at 40-1 ran a very respectable fourth here last year. So he has brought his game to New York and duplicated his out-of-town races.
This is an open company race.
The race where he finished second at a mile, because let's go through his races. He's been on the dirt 3 times. He's not a dirt horse, he's a turf horse. I know he's never won on the turf. He's going to be a very big price. I don't care he did a mile and 3/8. That race, he lost to Reconvene before that. The race where he got the 79 buyer, the last time he ran a mile on the turf, it's 2 turf races back when he's second. Singapore Flash, a pretty good horse. Race kind of collapsed, but he made an early move in there. I will tell you something. If Add a Kid is able to run back to that race on August 22nd, the last time he was on the turf, going at a reasonable distance, he has a big chance to get a piece of this, and he's going to be a price.
It'll be a price. It'll be a gigantic price.
I don't know how big a price. I think David got a little optimistic with 20-1. I think he's a horse supposed to be about 12 to 15
Andy,
to 1.
he's coming in with a barn that's 2 for 53.
Okay, fine.
I'm just trying to
the heck is supposed to take money in this race?
No, listen to me. I don't think it's about taking money. I think it's about ignoring a horse that comes from a low percentage
Please
barn.
ignore this horse.
I'm just saying.
Because this horse will run better than a 20-1 shot.
Well, I think you'll get all of that 20-1.
I hope so. I don't, but I hope so. But maybe you're right. I mean, probably can't be below 15 if he's lower. So, I thought he was very interesting in here because there's a lot of horses in here. I'll put it this way. He's got better turf form than a lot of horses in this race. There's a lot of horses in this race coming into this race off of very mediocre efforts.
You'll get your price.
And you've got an even money entry where a horse hasn't run in over a year and a half, and another horse who stunk last time. Now, they may run 1-2, but that's an even money shot that I'm not betting.
Okay.
Race number 8, big scratch with Vineyard Sound. Was even entering him here for. Beat me last time. That was nice. We got Old, You Got Sold, winning last time. I don't know about you, Anth. I scratched into him 4th.
I scratched into him 3rd.
Take a look at his last race. Francisco.
I just, if there was ever a 2-horse race run at a New York Racing Association track,
you're right.
It was this one. And quite frankly,
you make a great point. You made a lot of great points today. You're really on your game. Besides that idiotic pick earlier today.
Andre Worry gave this horse a really good ride last time. He outpositioned the favorite, Fox Red. And,
yes,
and
I
that was
agree.
it.
Fox Red's got an overconfident ride. He wasn't going to win, but he got an overconfident ride in here. I don't know. I think you and I both have the same feeling. And listen, he can win this race.
He absolutely can win the race.
We'll show you a stat, though, for John Toscano. How about this stat for John Toscano? Second off a claim, off a win. Francisco.
David has him 7-2 on the morning line, and Vineyard Sound is out. So what does that make him now?
For what it's worth, I like this stat to look up. Horses that win for trainers off the claim, how do they do when they come back? They haven't had much success. And I think it fits this horse, not so much the Toscano barn, as much as he is just so unreliable. I just want somebody else in here, you know?
It was his first win in 2 years last time.
Wow.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah, you're right. November 30th.
So, and he didn't have a lot of chances in between.
You did that math so quickly.
He didn't have a lot of chances in between. 8 races in between in 2 years. He's not reliable, and now you're going to ask him to come back and do it again.
Do you know
off that stat.
on Jeopardy last night, they asked the contestants, assuming it's not a leap year, what day of the year is the 100th day of the year? And none of them got it.
Assuming it's not a leap year.
Yeah, it takes about a half a second to go 31 plus 31 plus 28. And that's 90. And then you go to April 10th.
April 10th, I mean.
Nobody got it. It was very disappointing Jeopardy last night when they asked about the city in New York State that's known as the Nickel. His nickname is the Nickel. And the guy guessed Newark. How disappointing that was. As a man who loves Jeopardy and has utmost respect for the people in that show.
Not even in the right state.
How could you not know it's Buffalo? I mean, but
The Buffalo
Newark.
Nickel.
Newark. I got some Buffalo Nickels, you know.
Do you?
Yeah, got some Buffalo Nickels.
I got some Buffalo wings.
Not anymore, you don't. You ate them. So what are you doing with Currency Chrome here? Oh, Michael Simmons. This is the Michael Simmons is never going to lose another race?
Listen, I picked
right,
Vineyard.
I hear you.
I picked Vineyard Sound.
No, Michael Simmons double.
I picked Vineyard
You
Sound.
may want to join the guys down rooting this one home.
I picked.
You should watch this race in the winter circuit.
I'll be on radio.
You should bring the HR and stuff down there. You should have like a live view.
I picked
This could be
Sound.
one of the greatest moments in racing.
Kind of like the
racing radio history.
Casamia horse early. I picked Vineyard Sound. I figured I'd mess around with this horse a little bit as a price for second.
Yeah, the guy's horses are running. I'm not.
And like you said, who are you going to trust in here?
Absolutely. Well, I got Norm Cassie, okay? My man Norm Cassie shipping in Batter Swing, claim drop down, the dump horse. I don't even think he needs to get a ride back. He's assuming he's going to lose him. For what it's worth, Norm's been training on his own for a little over 2 years. He is almost 50% with his claims.
He only paid one way for the van. No shot this horse is going back to Kentucky or Florida.
Sure doesn't
Zero.
feel like it.
Absolute zero.
Yeah.
This horse is going back home. No shot.
It does feel like a suspect dump job, too, and you can't trust this horse either, but I've got him on top of here.
It absolutely does.
But I'm also rooting for Norm. What about Corporate Raider? Wayne Potts. Trainer changed to Wayne Potts. Don't you want to use that horse?
I'm going to use him. I'm using like 5 of them in here.
Well, I think the interesting horse is the horse you and I have second, Kosciuszko. He was awful last time. I liked him last time. He had a good trip and went backwards. Having said that, those were much better horses. How about the race? By the way, he was in a different race. He was, this race you like, Bronx Bonner. Oh, what an awful beat that was. Oh,
He was a fresh gelding last time, too.
Maybe he didn't like it. Maybe you missed him.
I don't know.
But he drops again, and in this field, I think you have to respect
He's just ran against so much better lately, right? I mean, the last 6 months, this horse has been running against...
How about the race Big Mountain
Gorilla.
yesterday?
That was of
I think the third horse should have won, but still, Big Mountain ran the best race.
You very rarely
Even if
see,
he lost, he ran the best race.
rarely see horses win the battle and the war when they're battling with Rudy horses. And he put...
Who'd have won a Skylar Scramjet?
He put Skylar Scramjet away.
They didn't know.
He put Skylar Scramjet away, and 3 horses came running, and he just kept going.
No, I agree.
That was something.
And it's funny. I do think speed was good yesterday. Looking at the races, yesterday was that you
45.
You really want to be forward, but I don't disagree.
He went 45 yesterday.
He ran some race. He was incredible yesterday.
Ralphie
so
D.
Race number 9. Race number 9.
Number 9.
Oh, one thing we knew, Kelly Breen. Got to pick Kelly at least once a day when he's got horses in. You can't dismiss him every race.
And I had to pick Rudy against It's a Gamble and put Clement second, so I couldn't pick It's a Gamble.
No Clements for you today. Well,
no Clements for you today.
Maybe the first day in about 4 months you haven't picked a Clement horse. Does he know? Should we call him?
You can call him.
Did you text him and say apologize for that? You should. Is he still here?
Talk to Christoph plenty.
Is he still here? I haven't.
He was here Sunday.
Yeah, but I wonder if he'd already gone to Florida. I have to go look for him. Because the TV show, I haven't seen anybody. But I haven't seen Christoph since Belmont. Seen anybody.
I saw him in the Horseman's Lounge on Sunday. Saturday or Sunday.
Of course he was.
Yeah. I can't remember what day. Sunday, I think.
So, what about this horse?
Which, about another shot?
Yeah.
Just dropping down, stretching out, made up some ground late in the game. Just a horse that I think this is the quintessential drop down where you're dropping to win a race.
He was so bad last time.
I know.
I've got him second. He's the horse to beat, but man, he's not much. I mean, I'm not sure he's much more likely to win than Bohemian Ruby. You don't have Bohemian Ruby anywhere? Maggie's in today. She's not going to be happy with this. You can't have this horse in the top 4? This horse is running against significantly better horses in the dirt. This field? Prince Orb got bet last time. He really got bet. He drifted 8, but this horse got bet. He did not run a step. I'm going to give him one more chance in this mediocre field.
Blinkers on, stretching out, took the money.
But he took money.
I'm with you.
So I had a long talk with my friend David Aragona about Make It in New York, who he really likes. Mike Beer likes this horse too. And obviously I have the world of respect for their opinions. Make of it what you want. I disagree with David, but this horse ran the last 16th of a mile and was looking at Trackus, and the horse actually ran 5.89 the last 16th of a mile. The problem I had, my argument to David about it was, and we were talking about it the other day, was, well, the horse ran consecutive 26 quarters. So great, he ran a 16th of a mile. I mean, there are bad horses that work 10 3/5 of the 2-year-old sales all the time. So I hear what he's saying, and I respect David, and I'm going to use the one a little bit on multis just out of respect for him. I'm not going to get a live in the length race and have him be right and not get paid. I have too much respect for him. I just don't agree with him. But I'm curious.
I'd like to be alive to the 1, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11. Fresh gelding.
Like to be a live doll.
This horse just, I mean, he didn't even take any money first time.
Yeah, but so what? Look who he's running in today. He ran in Sworn of Plenty. He was running in a
Yeah,
field that was, he's running in a field that was a thousand times better than this. We'll see. Well, you want to just be dismissive of anybody here?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just, you know.
I mean, I've got Double Pour in there. He was atrocious last time. He was running the races over. The winner was a 50-60 to 1 shot that came from, you know, way back. It's tough to like anybody.
Way back.
Way back. I mean, that horse, seriously, the winner of that race? That horse for Jimmy Ferraro, first-time starter. McMahon's owned that horse? Watch the replay of that race. I think it's the race that Double Pour was in. He's behind Double Pour. Okay?
Yeah, Prospect Mountain, that's the horse.
And eBay was legitimately behind him.
He's back in the Stallion Series on Sunday.
Those are fun races on Sunday. Good card on Sunday. Good card all weekend.
Yeah.
Cigar Mile card.
A lot of fun.
You need to play these cards through NYRA Bets.
No
you need
question
to support
about
racing
it.
in New York. You need to keep the money in the game. Money needs to stay in the game, and that's why you need to play through an ADW like NYRA Bets. But you need to keep the money in the game. The game cannot survive unless the money is continuously reinvested. And play through NYRA Bets, you're supporting racing in New York. We'll match for $200 your initial deposit. NYRABets.com for more information. Francisco, I think he fixed the slate thing. What do you think? Look at that. Look at that, okay? Finally. Almost
I was
an
ready to
hour into
propose
the
a
day.
lunch bet that he didn't.
You're down to 48, by the way.
Glad I didn't.
$500
$500
buy-in, 2 NHC seats. Travers Weekend out in Las Vegas, all cash prizes. Saturday, December 5th.
Now you got a little over 5 hours left, so.
There you go.
Tick tock, tick
Till 5
tock.
o'clock today. Do we have the other slate? That's all we have, Francisco.
That's all we had the first time
He didn't
around.
completely redeem himself.
Well, that's all we had first time around. They don't have the Aqueduct
I think
Tampa
Maggie's
slate.
in today. I believe
Good.
She told me she was off Thursday and Sunday. So I haven't seen her, but I believe she will be here. So she will be joining me between races. But for now, the man upstairs, the big man, John and Brielle, up with the reprise, the scratches and changes. Have a great day. Great weekend of racing coming up here at the Big A.